Well, yo, bro.
Hey, sis. How are you doing tonight?
How are you? I'm doing really good. How's your
Oh,
week
I am
been?
so blessed. I can't believe it's gone by already. Where did it go? I think we're in the new month already. And
I know it's
how did
pumpkin
that happen?
season.
Yes. Are you involved with any pumpkins? Are you associated with any of them this year or not yet?
No, I'm not associated with any pumpkin stuff this year. Kind of gotten away from it, but plan on taking the granddaughters out to the farm and have them pick their pumpkins and have a good old time with that. So, yeah, it sounds
Right.
like a good time to be had soon. But no, I haven't really, done any of that sitting and selling stuff like I used to. I'm getting a little too old for that stuff.
Yeah. So for our viewers, for our listeners, Sis has quite the experiences with selling roadside farm produce, and pretty kind of grew up doing a lot of the things that were with it. And it wasn't just selling it on the roadside either. Too, it was the tending of the fields and the ground. Prior to that, too, you would also work on and stuff. So, was it fun? Was it a net blessing for you? How do you feel about it looking back?
Looking back, there was some fun stuff. There was times that, you had to go and pick them and you just weren't in the mood to go pick them, but you had to anyways because at first they needed to get sold, and second they couldn't go rotting and by sitting on the vine, and
Right,
and then you had to pick
right.
the good stuff to go to where, and my favorite part was actually doing the roadside selling or going to the flea market and sitting there and selling. And I would go and I would be the one sitting and selling while everybody else would go look around at the flea market and stuff, because I wasn't the looker, I was the seller. That was my preference. And I haven't done that in a couple years. I've gotten away from it because other work, and school had consumed my life for quite a few years, so I don't do that as much anymore. But I do enjoy just taking the grandkids and doing that whole they try to pick up a pumpkin bigger than them kind of thing, and that's kind of fun.
Now, when you were selling, were you a barker? Were you the kind of person who tried to draw attention to your stand, or were you just kind of the person who sat there and kind of let people come in and have some privacy doing their thing? You're there to answer questions, but you're not really.
Well, it all really depended upon the person. Because the thing is that you had to kind of look at your buyer. Because sometimes your buyer was a chatty one, you know what I mean? And you had to throw out some chats like, ooh,
Right,
got a specific one you like, or, oh, what the weather is, or, oh, comment on something you just saw them walking from. And they loved that. And then they would all, oh, well, let me buy this. And some of them, they would be like, just shut up and let me pick my pumpkin. So, yeah, pretty much. And so I kind of, I had that knack of knowing which was what. I read the demeanor of people a lot. And I would do quite well with my selling. Most of the time, I would sell out before long. I actually, a lot of the time, especially when I would go to the flea market, I would sell out before the end of the day. And and the people who were with me would be bummed because they'd have to stop looking around, because they would always come back and go, give me some money from the pumpkins you sold so I can go buy this little thing or that little thing.
That made it hard to bring home bacon when the bacon was going right out.
Yeah, that was a good thing, too, that I was the seller, because then I would be like, oh, well, here, have $5. That's all we've made. We won't talk about the wad in the other pocket, though.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we would be a little quiet about that.
Were you a barker? See, I was a barker. I was, when I was behind the table, which wasn't often. I mean, not nearly as often as you did it. But when I was behind there, I loved to call out. I loved to, get your pumpkins, get your peanuts, get your popcorn, get your candy, whatever it was we were selling. I loved to just call it
You would
out.
do that a lot for the corn and stuff, but a lot of the times you would be so grumpy for the first couple of hours that you wouldn't be anything but in the truck.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. I had really bad allergies and stuff growing up too, and boy, I tell you, that made me. I'm not trying to foist everything on the allergies, but when you're not feeling good, that makes you grumpy.
Oh yeah, for sure. It just says, no, I just don't want to do it. And there was plenty of days that came about. But yeah, I do remember you used to try to, you would sit there and yell out for corn and things like that, and you'd be like, come on, go get it. Or how would you do that? Real fast thing. Can you remember how you did that? Can you do that again? You'd be like, come on, real fast. And
I would have to. I can't do an example of it right here, but I would just get into this sort of rhythm and just start calling and making a loud. Basically, if you make a loud noise in the market, people look over at you, and if people look over at you and you're talking about this great deal on corn you've got, or this, I remember for our church youth group, I used to sell candy bars. We would raise money for trips to go here and to go there, and I had a friend, a best friend, who I would man the candy bar table with, and the two of us together, we would try to outbark each other, and that would cause a lot of commotion and bring a lot of people over to wonder what's going on, and we sold a lot of candy bars. So
yeah, I liked it when we did the snow cones for those trips. I would do more I did the snow cones.
Oh yeah, those were fun. But I think the snow cones and the candy bars I enjoyed more than the pumpkins, because I would have worse allergies with the farm produce. So that made me grumpy.
And I personally looked forward to going and doing that stuff, because then, I think I might have mentioned it in another discussion that we've had before, is I've mentioned how I would prefer to be outside tweaking on a tractor or selling produce than inside cleaning the house. So.
Oh yeah. That was definitely you were an outside girl.
Oh yeah. So if it was okay, it's time to it was a summer day, and you either had to stay on the farm and clean the house and do the chores, or go sell stuff on the side of Route 8. I was like, take me to Route 8. Let's go. And then we would leave at the crack of dawn, and we would stop and pick up. Well, no, we would go and actually pick the corn real quick, and then we would go and stop at another farm and pick up green peppers and onions, and I'm thinking there was something else, and tomatoes. And then we would go and we would pull that truck up on the side of Route 8, right by that bar there. It was on the other side, because I loved their hoagies. Oh, gosh, their hoagies.
Oh, yeah. I remember
and
that.
Do you know it's a brick place now? They sell, mulch and rocks and stuff like that to make your front of your house look pretty.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because every time I go past that, I think of that, and then I look at it going, wow, that is just crazy how that something's there now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I would spend my summer mornings and afternoons there, and Mom would eventually give me a couple of dollars to walk over to go get one of those hoagies, and it was just I thought I was living the dream right there, man. That stuff.
Oh, those hoagies were heavenly. Oh, they were fabulous.
They still have that bar there. I have not been in it, though, since I was a kid, so I couldn't tell you if their hoagies are still good.
Wow.
I really couldn't, but yeah, it was phenomenal. I loved it, and and that was my summer morning. Now, mind you, there was summer mornings when I didn't want to go do that whatsoever, and I just wanted to do my own thing, and I, because I said I would do this, I was stuck doing it, and, yeah, it did kind of bite me in the butt a couple of times on a summer day, but most of the time because I got to keep some of the money, and of course it wasn't a lot, but back then that was just enough to make me a happy camper because I had some money in my pocket, so life was good. Thank you so much for being a follower. Feel free to like us and follow us on our channel. This is a really great idea to just pop out, and it's wonderful that we kind of just come together, and we thank you for listening to us.